Now back to that story on the red ants, where residents of Windsor East in Randburg have been left stranded after red ants evicted them from their dwellings this morning. And our Chriselda Lewis is standing by with more for us on this. Chriselda, good afternoon. Give us the latest.
Well, thank you very much, Natasha. As you can see, the red ants have moved to another building here in Windsor East, where they have been raiding several of the apartment blocks in this area over allegations that residents have failed for several months to pay services to the city of Johannesburg. You'll also see now a lot of the residents' belongings are being moved by the red ants from inside. We're not really allowed to go inside now because several of the red ants have occupied a number of the apartment buildings here at Kaya Square in Windsor East, here in Randburg in Johannesburg. Now, our understanding at this point, Natasha, is that there are 60 apartments that have been targeted in 16 of the apartments. And what we're hearing from the sheriff is that they obtained a court order to evict residents from these apartment buildings, and that a meeting was held yesterday to try and inform residents of the impending action that is being taken here this morning. The situation is relatively calm from what we saw this morning, when some of the residents had blockaded the streets and also burned tires in protest against what they say are unfair evictions. Some of the residents are claiming that they have been paying rent to some of the landlords, but it's very difficult to say at this point, Natasha, which of these landlords are landlords who themselves hijacked these buildings. Let me take you closer to this area here at the moment. You can see some of the residents have also made provision to try and get their belongings moved from here, but the understanding at this point, Natasha, is that there are hundreds of people who will not know where they're going to sleep tonight, and they're looking for answers from some of the managing agents in this area and some of the landlords. So a very difficult situation to try and get answers to relating to this at this point. Many of the residents are also saying that they for several months tried to engage with some of the owners of the properties here, and some of the accusations they also make is that rental in this area has often gone up without any explanation from some of the owners as well as the managing agents in this area. So many people left destitute at this stage, but the argument that is being made on the part of the managing agents here is that they've simply not been paying for the services that have been rendered by the city of Johannesburg. So I think we're on about the 10th property at this time, Natasha, and we're expected to move to many others at this point. What they've also done is that there are security guards that will be brought in a bit later on this evening, we understand, to guard some of the properties where these residents have been evicted from, but very destitute, not knowing exactly where they're going to go. Impromptu moves. They would have to find accommodation quite quickly in order for them to get some shelter. Sir, do you mind if you could speak to us at this time? Not many, Natasha, want to speak to us. We're quite lucky earlier on this morning when many of them, some of them emotional, also saying that they've got children. They don't know what they're going to do. Their kids were supposed to go to school this morning. That didn't happen as well. So it's a very tense situation here, and a humanitarian one at this stage, because many of these people don't know where they're going to lay their heads tonight.
Chriselda, thank you very much for that. Chriselda Lewis, live for us from Windsor East in Randburg.